Hey Donna, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So I wanted to tell everyone a little bit more specifically about like what your title is and who do you serve. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I am a master certified life coach. I specialize in mindset and performance success. So I tend to focus on teens and young adults and high performance lifestyles. So, namely, like creative, so acting, singing, music, art, sports and cheerleading, high academics, and also the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay. Awesome. So what's motivated you to kind of specialize in this performance arena of coaching like and how do you find success in your coaching or how do you define success in your coaching practice?
Yeah. Well, I like that I can combine traditional life coaching methods along with mentoring techniques. I like to help people figure out better, more efficient ways to do their daily tasks and navigate all the twists and turns that life throws at them, but in a way that actually reduces stress and anxiety and increases productivity for success. As for how I measure success, honestly, success is so individual that I can define it in so many different ways. But what it all comes down to really is the confidence and growth that the individual sees and feels in themselves, what their goals were, and have they met them? And are they confident enough to know that they can meet them again in the future? Successfully speaking, moving beyond our time together is the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that it's so important because once you know people can learn that how to like do it themselves, right? And that's what
Yeah,
coaching is. It's a mastery, it's a self-development of being
yeah,
able to learn the tools and implement them and start to use them on your own, which is
absolutely.
really powerful because then they're in charge of their own success as well. So that's super awesome.
Absolutely.
So, as a performance coach, how do you integrate aspects of mindset and mental conditioning into your coaching sessions to really optimize like teen and young adult performance?
So, first, we start establishing a positive mindset. I like to call it positive gaslighting. That's such an important part of the process as well as in life in general. Then we work on goal setting and steps toward achieving their goals. They learn different methods and figure out what works best for them. Throughout this process, we also work on things like stress management and resilience building through self awareness and learning how to regulate their emotions. I do give them action items to help encourage them to actually move toward their goals and give them a safe space for feedback and support. And then this way they know when and where they need to adjust anything in their pathway for success.
That's awesome. And I love how you were integrating like what's going to work for them because we have so many tools as coaches, but which ones are going to actually work? So
It's not
sometimes
a
what
one
works for
size fits
one,
all.
yeah,
It's,
one
yeah,
a tool that works for one client doesn't resonate as much for another client. So it's great that we all, as coaches, we have such a huge tool belt of things to help
absolutely.
individuals
Absolutely.
in what their needs are.
Yeah.
So Donna, tell me, in your experience, what are some common barriers that teens and young adults face when striving to reach their performance goals? And then how do you help them overcome these obstacles?
Yeah. Honestly, I find that a lack of confidence and poor time management are the biggest culprits towards a lack of motivation. And then that leads to a huge fear of failure and absolutely paralyzes students. Not to mention, there are so many external pressures and distractions that create a lack of focus or a complete shutdown. This is when we discuss things like digital detoxes, making sure that their environment is conducive to their needs and lacking of distractions that surround them. And we also work on different focusing techniques, such as like the Pomodoro technique or Eat the Frog, stuff like that, that gets them to start focusing better.
Yeah, and it's so important. Those techniques are so simple, but the hardest part is, implementing, and that's for, young people and old people,
Mm,
us old people.
yeah,
but it's that, it's that procrastination that kicks in. And so having tools to help guide you so you don't like self-sabotage yourself is so important. And it's so amazing to learn at a young age. It's such a gift.
Absolutely. Yeah.
People. So tell me, how do you support teens and young adults in developing resilience and managing setbacks or failures when striving for high performance?
So the first thing we do is normalize failure. Failure is not failure if there's something that you can learn from it. I like them to do a lot of self reflection through journaling and meditation. This makes it easier to reframe failure into valuable lessons that help them adjust their pathway to achieving their goals. I like for them to have positive role models that show that failure actually leads to success. We also continue to work on building a growth mindset, and then we start incorporating coping strategies when and where needed. What's really nice is that all of this is done in a supportive environment because striving for high performance is usually extremely competitive and stressful. And if these teens and young adults don't know how to manage their emotions and how to continue to move forward after a setback, many of them will give up on their dreams and they'll settle for a life of less. So, my goal is to help them have confidence in themselves, to manage the setbacks, and to know that there's always something to learn in every situation, good or bad. Then they can take those lessons and apply them to the next situation, and they'll be even more successful.
I love that so much. And it is so important, especially for the younger generation. Like every part of their world seems so competitive.
Yes.
Um, from getting a job to college to performance based sports like like everything that you specialize in or
Mhm.
activities even
Yeah.
and just the world in general. So I think that you help them realize that failure is actually the opportunity to learn is
Absolutely.
such a huge mindset shift because I think if they feel like something doesn't go completely right, it's a failure. And like
Yeah.
as coaches, we know we don't believe in there is no failure. Like there's just
And a lot of
opportunity
them
to
give
learn.
up. Yeah. A lot of them
Yeah,
give up. And then, later in life, then they're like, I should have just kept going. And that's what we want to avoid. And just have them take it in, self reflect, and how do you move forward? And, what do you need to tweak?
right, exactly. And it's so important when you implement these tools, it lowers the stress when they can start looking
Yeah.
at things in a different perspective. So it's like a win-win in that sense
Yeah.
too. So it's super
Yeah.
awesome. So wrapping up, like what is your greatest wish for teens and young adults in
Yeah.
this day
Well,
and age? Yeah.
honestly, it's kind of like what we were just saying. Life can be difficult. And I just want to help equip them with any tools that I can to help them navigate life, to advocate for themselves, and to always move forward in a more positive and successful direction.
I love it. And especially the advocating piece that, I mean, that is so important because
Huge.
it's the age range you work with. It's, they're learning how to separate themselves and live independently
Yeah.
or they're going to be soon. And so it's so important to learn to advocate for yourself and learn those tools before you actually do have to get out into the world by yourself. So
Yeah. And
it's such a great proactive thing.
yeah. And I find that, a lot of these younger generations, even the high achievers, a lot of them fear advocating for themselves when a lot of their stressful situations could really be easily resolved by advocating for themselves and just asking a question of their teacher, their coach, their parents, a friend. A lot of that stress can be alleviated just by, either sticking up for themselves or asking a question, some sort of advocation for themselves.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I find the same thing, obviously, because we coach the same, people,
Mhm.
but yours just is a little bit more specialized. But it really is just asking for help and not and knowing that that's a strength and not a weakness. And it's
Absolutely.
unfortunate A lot of kids feel like, oh, I'm dumb if I have to ask for help, or I'm not smart. And so
Yes.
I love that you are make that such a priority in the coaching because it is so important. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
No, just, I just want, to help the younger generations move forward in a stronger way than I think what we've seen a lot in the last so many years, in the last decade or two.
Yeah, agree. So awesome. Thanks so much for just chit-chatting with me today and
Yeah, thank
having people
you.
get to know you a little bit better.
I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me.